Hey guys, Meg here. Welcome back. This has been such a busy month. I had 3 birthdays in my house in the month of September, and I was given the task of making a Walking Dead cake. I hope you enjoy. We're gonna start by making all of our decorations for the cake. So we have our gravestones. That is just black candy melts. Put those in the microwave until they're nice and smooth. Place them in a piping bag or a Ziploc bag with the corner cut off, and then just pipe those onto parchment paper to make your gravestones. Next, you can make your fences for your cake. So just take a piece of parchment paper, draw a rectangle template, mine were 7 by 3, and then flip your paper over. Once again, just melt your candy melts in the microwave and then pipe those onto your grid. Let those harden, and then you can spray these with some edible food spray, and I found this right at the craft store. Allow that to dry, flip them over, and then spray them again. This does say it's edible. I wouldn't recommend eating it. It doesn't taste very good. Now you can make your crosses. Once again, put your candy melts in a microwave safe bowl, melt those up, put them in your bag, and then pipe these. I pipe them in 2 different sections just to give it kind of a more realistic look, but you can pipe them as one, whatever you'd like to do. If you do pipe 2 separate sections, just let those harden, and then you can glue them together with a little bit more melted chocolate, and you can just dab a little bit of food coloring right on the cross for a nail. Now you can make your barbed wire for your fence. This is a very, very thin gauge wire. Once again, I found it at the craft store in the flower section, and just take a small rolling pin or anything that you have and just twist that wire around your rolling pin to get a nice barbed wire. To prep for your Walking Dead cake, you are going to need 5 half-sheet cakes, 1 batch of chocolate buttercream frosting, and 4 batches of vanilla buttercream frosting. And 2 of these vanillas are going to be dyed green for grass. And the recipes for all of this will be right in the description. Now you can start constructing your prison yard cake. So take your first half-sheet cake, place that on your board, and then spread a thin layer of your chocolate buttercream. Place your second layer on top, and then frost the entire cake. And don't worry if you can't get it quite around all the edges, because you're going to put your little gravestones as decorations around the edges. So don't worry if it's not completely covered. I got baker's arm. Hurts.
You look like a chicken on me.
Quack. My chickens don't quack. Quack. Here's where the green buttercream is going to come into play. Just use a small tool, a skewer, anything you want to use, and draw on your cake where you would like your dirt path to be. Then you can start piping your green buttercream as grass around that dirt path, and then put that back in your fridge to chill. Now we can start working on our tower. So you need a base for this, which is just a wooden circle, and then I have some PVC coming out of it with some fittings that you can find right at the hardware store. You want to make sure you cover this in plastic wrap too. Cut your half-sheet cake into 6 equal pieces as well as you can, and then you can use a little cookie cutter just to cut a hole in the center of each cake so you don't have a bunch of crumbs flying all over the place when you try to put this on your base. And then you're just going to stack cake frosting, cake frosting, cake frosting, cake frosting, cake frosting, 12 layers until it gets right up to the top, and then put this back in your fridge to chill. Once it is hardened up, maybe about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, take it out, and then you can trim your sides so they're nice and even and you have a nice square tower. And then you can frost the entire cake. Now you will want to roll out your fondant, and I definitely recommend coloring this now rather than waiting to paint it while it's on your cake. You'll get a much better color if you just color it now and mix that into your fondant. You'll want to cut a piece for your tower as well as a small piece for the landing of the tower and your roof. Cover your tower with your fondant, and then use a little cake circle or a piece of cardboard and cut a square that's larger than your cake for the landing of your watchtower, and cover this with fondant now as well. Now you're going to stack 2 more cake layers on top of that watchtower. And then just put this back in the refrigerator to harden up a little bit. Once that's hardened up, you can take it out and then also trim those sides so they're nice and square, and then frost them and cover in fondant. And at this point, this is where I covered my base, and it was a little bit more difficult. That's why I recommend just covering your base before you put those last 2 layers of cake on. Definitely work better for you then. After you've constructed your tower, now you can measure your landing, your base of the tower, to create your template for the railings of your tower. So once again, just take a piece of parchment paper, draw out your template for your railings, flip your paper over, and then pipe on with candy melts the shape of the railings that you would like, and then put those aside to harden. At this time, this is when I painted my tower, and it was definitely a pain in the butt. I didn't get the color I wanted. It just didn't look right to me. So once again, use my mistakes, learn from them. Definitely color your fondant before you put it on the cake. Once you've got that all set, now you can add your railings to your tower. So just use a little bit more candy melts as glue, and I actually used a compressed air can and held it upside down so it was nice and cold, and that is what I used to secure my railings to the tower. It worked wonderfully. Using more buttercream dyed green, now you can actually pipe grass on your tower base, and then use a few cake pegs, which you can find at the craft store, to place your roof on the cake. And I also used a small piece of cardboard here as well, just to give it a little bit more stability. Now that your prison yard cake has firmed up, it's been in the fridge for a while since we piped the grass on it, we can put our decorations on it. So you can start with your fences. And for these, I used a nice long lollipop stick, just stuck that in where I wanted the fence to start. Once again, use melted candy melts as your glue for your fence. So just put a lollipop stick, put a little bit of melted candy, put your fence, another lollipop stick, more melted candy, and you can use some compressed air here as well to sturdy it all up. Then you can place your crosses on your cake for a little graveyard, and you can use some cake crumbs as dirt here. You're gonna have plenty of cake left over, so you can definitely use some crumbs here. And you can place your tombstones around the perimeter of the cake. And for this, I just used a little bit more melted chocolate and just place those all around. And depending on how many you made, you can space them if you want full coverage or if you want a little space in between them. And you can also use a little bit of frosting around the gravestones. Just go right around the cake and add a little bit more cake crumb for dirt around those. Once you've placed all your decorations on the cake, now it's time to place your zombies. These were zombie toys that I found at the toy store, but you could definitely make your own zombies with some fondant or modeling clay. Whatever you do, have fun with it. You can place your zombies wherever you want to. I know that was a tough one, but you can definitely use some of the ideas that I used in my cake to make your own. Definitely share the photos on my Facebook page and subscribe so you can see my new videos every Wednesday and Saturday.